Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We are into Washington week here, and we move very, very quickly in the aftermath of a Monday night beatdown at the hands of the Kansas City Chiefs. My pal, Leonard Raskin, he sponsors us here, and as we swim into the new Baltimore Positive and you see those lovely ads up there and his face and our videos and all of that stuff and talking about finance and money and all of that, there's one thing that stops all of us, right? And it's when the Ravens play this time of the year, especially when there's enthusiasm and momentum and energy for all of it. This was a big game on Monday night. Most of us get together and we convene downtown. I talked about how empty and lonely it was and the economy of downtown as we bring some finance into this with Raskin Global. But what a letdown, huh, Leonard? I mean, I don't know what else to say because they'll beat the Redskins this week, and I bet they'll beat the Bengals, and I bet they won't lose very much. But until the next time they meet again, you're going to doubt what your eyes saw or what your eyes didn't see, which is how to beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow, I'll tell you, they were a machine. The definition of a well-oiled machine. I mean, I was stunned. Our first drive, thought we had a beautiful thing going. I don't know what happened to the second, third, fourth, fifth drive after that. I don't know who decided to throw 3-yard passes. I don't know who decided what, but it was ugly and more discouraging than the offense being blitzed up was the defense blitzing up and getting torched by well, I guess you could say a $500 million man.
Well, yeah, you talk about money and finances in your world here. And I know Wink Martindale said they should have given him $1 billion last week.
They should have given him more this week.
Yeah, I sort of chuckled at that thinking, well, you're just buttering him up or whatever. And then you have to go out there and X's and O it and try to figure out a way to stop him. Not just him, the weapons around him, and then what you take away, and then what gives what it gives him in that case. Patrick
Five receivers and a tackle? Was he a tackle?
Yeah, that set the coaches off in the when that happened, that's the ultimate embarrassment when the tackle scores the touchdown, right?
Yeah, that would put it right in the defense's face. I mean, it was a hard Monday night. The saving grace, I will tell you this, because the game was here in Baltimore, local BAL TV. There was no broadcast of Stanley Cup Game 6, which was on NBC. So I had the big screen going with the Ravens Monday night, and I had the small 20-inch-ish computer running with NBC Online watching Tampa Dallas. And
you weren't going to miss the goblet being skated, but I mean,
never.
Did that game end?
Never.
Did it end before the Ravens?
Within minutes.
I was going to say, I sort of saw it on my timeline in the first period, but then, given the algorithms of social media, Leonard, I'm in a purple kingdom, for those couple of hours. And especially as the Ravens got back in the game at one point, which was kind of unlikely, right? I mean, their kicker was not as good as our kicker, right? So we could reevaluate
He's
that.
Supposed to be the second best dude ever.
Yeah, we could still say
we have the first dude.
We have the better kicker. I'm pretty sure of that. But when it really came time to win the game, and where you and my wife and all of us would have been breathing down on Mahomes at the end of the game, there was something sort of lacking in that part of it that we missed out on. And I felt bad for the fans. I mean, quite frankly, for any of us, I felt bad for the city. I felt bad for the purple patio down at Dave Rather's place that I walked by at 6:15 and no one is at. People weren't even walking their dogs downtown on Monday night. I was just kind of in the Goodyear blimps flying around, the whole deal, right?
Right.
And it was such a fizzle, and I guess none of us who got some rest and didn't have to sit in traffic to get home, after losing a game like that. But there was something about the 12th man and the value of the fans and what that would have looked like in a 7-point game in the fourth quarter and what it felt like for the Ravens, which was this big empty thing and the glow of a Monday night, nobody there. there is a strangeness to all of this that at some point later in life, hopefully we'll all survive, Leonard, and be able to put into perspective.
Yeah, I think you can ask Drew Brees that same question maybe against the Packers this week, and how they had to play in the Superdome with cardboard cutouts, and wow, it's just a strange thing to watch. The empty, what is it, 75,000, 80,000 fans disguised as purple seats. It's rather bizarre, but I don't know that explains away the defense being torched every which way Mahomes could get them. I'm watching and I'm thinking, how many third downs is he going to throw a touchdown on? How many third downs is he going to throw to his tight end or his wide receiver or his back for 20, 25, 15? I mean, all over the field. The guy,
20
I don't
plays
know
of 10 yards or more.
I don't know if that's him. Look, if it's him, he's worth $1 billion. If it's Andy Reid, sign him up for life. I mean, the guy schemed up one heck of a game, and they carried it out. They absolutely carried it out. I think we were outplayed on offense, outplayed on defense, outcoached. Our special teams looked good. It was nice to see a kickoff return for a touchdown. That was lovely.
Well, you tip your cap to the Super Bowl champs, right? I mean, like,
absolutely.
My wife and I were walking the city, and she said to me, "Who do you think's going to win?" And this is before the rainbow came out, before it rained and all that, because we literally did. Leonard, I've lived downtown for 17 years, right? 18 summers now, right? And I just thought, like, people who lived in Locust Point and Federal, I just thought people would be out. And there was nothing going on, and the rainbow happened, and we felt the lack of energy in all of it for the economy and for all of that. But I did feel like the players would have to bring their own energy, right? Like Calais Campbell talked about bring your own energy. Everybody I talked to in Kansas City last week, they really felt like the Chiefs landed at LAX, went over to that big brand new stadium that none of them had ever been in, and it was morning to them. It was just a really weird environment for them to walk into. And I think the Ravens struggle with this a little bit, and I think the Chiefs did not struggle with it. And the bring your own energy part, that's something that's going to be an intangible that's unspoken throughout the league in any of these empty stadiums. And by the way, Leonard, the Texans are having fans this week, right? So a week later, it would be different. A month later, maybe by the time the Steelers get here, we'll have fans in the stadium, and it'll be a little bit of a different experience. But the zero part of this, that takes some getting used to for everyone.
Absolutely. And hopefully they'll bring their own energy to the Washington football team this weekend.
What do you make of all that? Were you a Redskin hater as a kid here?
No.
You were not? Okay.
Not a hater. I never liked them. Back in the Hogs and the Riggins day, it was fun to watch. But they were never my team. I was never a fan.
But you were a Colts fan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And
give me your background as a Colts fan that led you to becoming like, what happened in your life from March 29th, 1984 until November of 95? Like, I know for me, I was an Oilers fan, right?
Yeah, I was young and poor. So I was a Colts fan on TV. And if I got to go to a game, it was luxury city, man. It was big luxury city. Like we would cut school to go to opening day of the O's. You take the MTA down to the stadium with a few guys and find a way to get into the ballpark and watch a game on 33rd. There was nothing better. I think I went to probably, as I can remember. So they left in 84.
Yes.
Right. So I was 18. I was 20 in 84. I was 20, but I had no big fandom. Like my son, okay.
Well, they stunk most of your. I mean, they stunk from '78 on, right? So
they were the team. But my son has been going to Ravens games since he was in a baby carrier.
Right.
He's 18, hanging out at Ohio State. He was at the Ravens games in a baby carrier. He has full fond memories of growing up Ravens. I have very little of growing up Colts. They weren't on TV all that much. It wasn't the same as it is today. You got one game a week.
I'll be
and we
honest
didn't
with you.
go.
I have two Redskins fans in my life, maybe three from the east side of Baltimore, who one of them kind of got it honest. He wasn't really from Baltimore. The other two were, Colts fans that abandoned Baltimore, right? They put the games on TV. The Redskins were in the NFC. They had
Yep.
been good during Kilmer and Sonny and all of that, right? And I remembered Larry Brown and George Allen. My dad never liked the Redskins. My dad never liked the Senators. We were a Baltimore family, which Baltimore positive is probably, my father winking at me from the grave,
Yep.
28 years later, right? But the DC Baltimore thing, Leonard, when the team came here in 95, 96, the Redskins were the enemy, not the Steelers, not
Absolutely.
even the
Well,
Colts, who had
I was
been
going to say
pathetic for a
it was
decade.
the Redskins. It was the Redskins and the Colts that were the enemy. Look, I wasn't thrilled with Jack Kent Crook and and Pete Butag telling us to build a museum. I got all that. So I was in the hate mode, but it wasn't visceral. And when we had no football, I just watched whoever, the 49ers for a little while. They were great. So it was just football. It wasn't anything big. But when I started working, January 1987 out of college, when I got my first real job that I've been doing ever since, advising people about money, the first thing I did with my money, other than get a car, because I had to have a car. So the second thing I did in 87 after I got a car was I bought season tickets to the Washington Capitals. That was the first major purchase, because we didn't have hockey. They did. I was a big diehard, still am, hockey fan. Second thing was put money in, and back then, I can't even remember. Was it the Stars before the Stallions, or the Stallions?
USFL was 85 and 86 and 87.
Was the Stars, right?
Yep.
So I had the Stars. Then we had the Stallions, watching the Grey Cup. We won the Grey Cup. How great was that? I left my money in for the Grey Cup. I remember we had a Sunday night game that the NFL foisted upon us to pay tickets for, to see if we would show up. Sold out 33rd crazy. I was there for that. Left all my money in, and then, good old Art tore out of Cleveland for some estate planning, which nobody talks about. Brilliant move on his part. You got a team, you're old, you're not well. It's time to make your cash in so you can transfer your wealth to your next generation. And he got Baltimore to give him a boatload to do that, a cash. And then I was first round Ravens, PSL owner since the day. So it was just a Baltimore everything. It was never really a Redskin thing. And then watching this whole debacle with their name is just hysterical. I got to say, as a local, it's kind of funny. I still call them the Redskins. I heard an announcer this past weekend. He called them the Redskins and was immediately corrected by his counterpart. Thought that was hysterical.
I got corrected this week too, and I'm going to be politically correct and try not to use the word, and certainly not use it on purpose. But for me, I actually sent a text out last week. Come on and talk, and I'm like, oh, and he said you can't say that word anymore. I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep trying. I keep saying San Diego every time I see the Chargers,
of course,
too, right? So
of course,
that's
the Superchargers.
The San Diego Superchargers, that great uniforms.
Do they have a song now? Do they have a song anymore?
The Los Angeles to London Superchargers. Leonard Raskin is here. He is Raskin Global. I'm wearing the shirt. Tell everybody what you do out in the real world on the money side, and I'll get back to why the Washington football team is for anybody my age here, and why I don't like it.
There you go. There you go. So what we do is money. We do everything money. We help people from budgeting to protecting your wealth, as I just mentioned with our fond memories of Art Modell here in Baltimore, making sure that you have liquidity and appropriate wealth and legal documents in place to transfer your estate. Nobody's getting out of here alive. We're all going the same way. And at that point, what you have, you want to transfer to those you care and love. So that's family and charity. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, it's government and fees and charges that they didn't know, their family didn't expect. So we make sure the money goes where you want, how you want, when unfortunately it's not what you want. You're gone. We make sure your insurances are right, your legal documents are in place. We coordinate with the state attorneys, accountants, make sure your taxes are done. as efficiently as they possibly can, so you too can pay $750 of taxes in a given year, as somebody else that we famously have heard about recently did. Maybe.
Yeah, I
Who
want
knows?
that deal and not go to jail. I want that deal. But
Hey,
we'll take that up next week.
It's a real estate world, man. It's a real estate world. So we help people make sure they're taking max advantage of the tax law. We make sure that your investments are working in your best order, so that in a time like the last months that we've had with this crazy pandemic, that you're not hanging out there on a ledge scared to death that you're going to lose your American dream and everything you worked so hard to put away. Make sure the investments are functioning as they should, and that you as an investor are functioning as you should. One of the things we tell people all the time, we don't find portfolio investors with portfolio problems. We find portfolios with investor problems. So people need to understand how their emotions get in the way of their investing. And just like Monday night, you're watching the Ravens game, you can find yourself a little unhappy about that. And whether you're the coach or it's a human emotion that comes in, and you try to make some rash decisions. Making rash decisions about your money is a bad thing to do. When you're in the height of emotional rage, whether that's the pandemic, the market soaring, the market dropping, that is not the time when good decisions are made. We like to say that as a colleague and someone that I've admired for a long time from afar and have met, Art Laffer, who was Reagan's chief economist, he once said very wisely that no good decisions get made when you're emotional or drunk. And so with the market, most people are emotional too often and make too many mistakes. So we got to make sure people don't, and we got to make sure they hold on to their money, so that when M&T allows us to come back to the stadium, people can afford a ticket and go to the game.
He is Leonard Raskin, Raskin Global. He will be at the games as soon as we have games to go to. Yeah, just zeroing in on this DC thing and how bad that whole experience has been. And, Leonard, I've been on the air almost 30 years now. It's been 29 years. And when the Colts left and when Camden Yards was built, I'm very familiar with this. I worked at the paper during those years in the late 80s, going into the early 90s. What an incredible brand the Redskins were and the Orioles were, and how the Caps were always trying to come, and the Bullets, they were always sort of on the outside. But the Orioles and the Redskins were the gold standard, right?
Absolutely.
And now we're at this point where I know the Nationals did not have a positive campaign. But certainly for what the Redskins represent, me talking to all these people, I mean, that's been the I said the Redskins game, longest, hardest fall for the Washington football franchise.
Yeah, it's amazing. I have a really good friend of mine. He was best man at my wedding, and his family, talk about the legacy piece, have had Washington football, Redskin tickets forever.
And they used to have value.
They passed them down, right? These things went in the will. Well, now that place, and forget COVID last year, that place was empty. That place had more visiting fans than Washington fans. And you couldn't get a ticket in there. I remember a game I went to, talk about crazy, years and years ago. So how long ago is this? You ready? It was a Sunday. I remember it just like yesterday. It was in October, I believe. It was pouring down rain. And here's the game. Redskins Falcons. Deion Sanders is playing on the Falcons, and MC Hammer's at the game. He comes.
You went to that game? You were at RFK? That game. Oh, you were at RFK. Okay.
RFK, and it's a mud bowl, and they gave out seat cushions before the game.
I only saw idea. 2 games at RFK Stadium, two Redskins games. I saw them play the Oilers in a game that the Oilers missed a kick and lost in 91-92. And I saw Steve Young play there on a Monday Night Football game. I got a ticket. Somebody called me last minute, said I got a ticket for. He's on the 50-yard line. I was on the roof. But I went down and I saw Steve Young play on Monday Night Football. And that's it, man. Let's be honest. When the Ravens came back, we played there the second year of our existence, and the new stadium was half put together, and they still played in it. So the Ravens never had a chance to play down at the old stadium. No. And to your point, getting a ticket to see Steve Young play the Washington Redskins in 1993 was a really difficult thing to do.
Well, this was hysterical because at halftime, MC Hammer's doing Hammer Time, and you can't touch this.
Hammer Time.
And people are frisbeeing the seat cushions at him from the upper deck, from the lower deck, all onto the field. And these things had to weigh 100 pounds because it was pouring. They were soaked through like a sponge. People were attacking the guy with seat cushions because they were just not Hammer fans.
I prefer my memories at RFK Stadium to be of Team USA soccer events and of like U2 concerts and Genesis concerts. So that's
a good concert.
That's what I prefer to think of. Maybe I saw a dead Petty. Let's see, dead Dylan and Tom Petty there one night. I'm still getting sober from that one. Leonard Raskin is here. Raskin Global. I got the shirt. I have investments around here somewhere. I will find your investment. Oh, I got them right here. Here they are. It's to make my breath good. My breath stinks when the Ravens
lose. Got to get you some more. I don't know if you have any. How can you have any left in there?
My breath's not that bad. Come on now. I mean, be nice to me. Leonard, tell everybody where to find you and what you're doing all week long and investing in money and getting ready for Washington football team football.
Find us at raskinglobal.com. You can find us facebook.com/raskinglobal. That's where we post all the upcoming webinars, new information, stuff that's going on out there. We're always talking the American dream. We're always talking your money. We're always talking about how to help you keep it, control it, enjoy it, and pass it on to those you care about.
So your breath can smell good too. There they are. The Raskin Global Investments. Appreciate that.
There, investments.
Keep your sense of humor here. We'll go beat the Washington football team. I'll see you next week, okay?
You got it.
Leonard Raskin joining us here from Raskin Global. Find them at raskinglobal.com. I'll pull the website up later for you. I want to give a shout-out to all of our sponsors here who've been so good to us during this merger, including Evan Brown and our friends at State Fair, serving up the chicken and waffles, the shrimp and grits, and now opening this week, it's true, El Guapo. I'm getting tortas and El Otros. And margaritas. So we're going to be down on Frederick Road. We hope to see you over there this weekend. Maybe we'll christen that, watch some playoff baseball over there, get the Calarics together over at Franco's and whatnot. I need a night in the Ville with Don Moeller and those types in the 21228. Nasty at WNST.net still finds me. The merger is upon us. WNST.net. Baltimore Positive coming together. We are WNST.net AM 1570 Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore Positive.